Hello, this is Jamie here from Heartfelt Horsemanship, and we would like to share with you the 4 basic behaviors that we need to teach you and have in place so we can share with you the Positive Progress program. The things that we are looking for are to apply rhythmic pressure. You can see Gareth is applying rhythm in that rope, and applying pressure, waiting for Matin to try and step backwards, and then a complete release of pressure when he steps backwards. So there's pressure with Gareth's finger. Rhythm is more than one. If Gareth's finger doesn't work, then he'll employ his wrist. You can see the rope moves a little bit more. Gareth is employing his elbow. And if need be, he'll go to his full arm. Pressure motivates, release teaches. So by using 4 phases of rhythmic pressure, we're teaching Matin to learn to recognize the slightest phase, the lightest rhythm to cause him to go backwards. We need our horses to go away from us as easily as they will come to us. Gareth is going to draw Matin back in. Give him a reward and a rest for trying. Pressure motivates, release teaches, and dwell time rewards the slightest try. So Matin's already responding to the lightest bit of pressure, organizing himself to go backwards. As gentle as possible, and Gareth will go to as firm as necessary to reinforce the request of Matin going backwards. When you're teaching your own horse to go backwards, we'd like you to have several different ways of driving your horse backwards. And primarily this is to keep your horse out of your space and keep you safe. If your horse is that far away from you, he can't step on you, he can't kick you, and he can't harm you. So in our first Positive Progress series, our aim is to have you be able to control your horse safely and to keep a line of communication open. So Gareth applies rhythmic pressure with the rope to drive Matin backwards and releases when Matin yields backwards. When a horse goes backwards, they have to start thinking about where they organize their feet. So we use the backup a great deal to communicate to the horse that they need to stay out of our space, look out for us, and not be on top of us. Later on, the backup becomes something that we use to build muscle and coordination in the hindquarters. But first and foremost, it is about maintaining a safe operating space so we can continue to safely communicate with our partners.
Afterwards, talking about that final word, when you have a horse drifts back in,
Okay.
pick up at the highest stage you left off, how to do
All right. So the Matin is developing really good manners. If you've watched our masterclass series, you'll know that Matin had a lot to learn. But if Matin were to lean forward and come into Gareth's space without him being asked, Gareth is going to go to the highest phase necessary to cause that horse to get back out of his space. If you've ever had a horse become spooked or panic on the end of a lead rope, you don't have time to be as light as possible. You need to save your own life and become effective enough to get them back out of your space so you both can remain safe. Different types of horses will respond differently. Some horses really love being with you, some horses love being away from you. So when you're practicing driving your horse backwards and then drawing them in, some horses will want to stay in your space. And, this is just a demonstration of, an insecurity of being away from their human leader. I want both to work equally. So if I tell my horse to get out there and stand, I want them to stay there until I ask them in. If my horse comes into my space, like right there, I'm going to remind them that that's never an acceptable answer. Most horses don't deliberately step on people to be naughty. They crowd into our space because they're feeling insecure. Cute little sniff. So now Gareth is going to be particular about how he organizes his rope so he doesn't have coils under his feet. These soft ropes are washable, so if they get a little bit dirty, it's no big deal. We can always throw them in the washing machine after we're done. Gareth's leaving his rope on the ground and uncoiled for his own safety, as well as the safety of other people that might be working in your area, so you don't end up with a horse pulling back and clotheslining you to the ground. Gareth is suggesting, asking, promising, and now he's going to tell Matin, move those hindquarters over and make a full disengagement. So there was 4 phases there: suggest, ask, promise, tell. So when you're teaching your horse to move their hindquarters, you kind of want to look like a grumpy mare. Move that or I'm going to come bite you. But as you saw Gareth swing his rope, there was still some rhythm in his rope. Rhythmic pressure builds a mental connection. By Gareth remaining consistent and using 4 phases, suggest, ask, promise, tell, Matin's going to start looking for suggestions and responding accordingly. Suggest, ask, promise, and he didn't need to be told to move those hindquarters over. Remembering that we disengage the hindquarters to release tension, as well as give our horse a way of saying, game over, you've done the right thing, so they can earn some dwell time and think about the maneuver that we've just practiced. Driving the hindquarters out of your way also prevents a horse from being able to kick you. If you have eyes and ears, you don't have hind feet. And the sooner we teach a young horse to disengage, the less likely it is that we will ever end up being kicked by them, because they know what to do. They know how to stay out of your space. They know how to move those hind feet away from you. And then if the teeth and the ears were a problem, we'd be able to move their forequarters over as well. We'll teach you that in a minute. Suggest, ask, promise. And Matin doesn't wait around to feel the end of Gareth's lead rope. When Gareth is spanking, Gareth will be as light as possible, but as firm as necessary. So if this were a I need you to move now situation, Gareth might have to put quite a bit of pressure. When you go to practice this with your own horse, I want you to see how much pressure is necessary to cause your horse to have a slightest try. What we're looking for in the disengagement is the near foot to step over the far foot. Can you see that inside foot stepping across the far hind foot? That's what we're looking for. The disengagement creates relaxation. And right now the disengagement is for safety, to get 2 eyes and 2 ears back with us. It provides relaxation. But what it will transfer to is later on when we want to have control over our horse's hindquarters. It will teach a horse to start working off of their hindquarters. If we put the steps in now, teaching it once we're under saddle, will be much easier for a horse to learn and understand. Gareth is making sure that he provides ample dwell time. So Gareth is going to coil up his rope in a way that makes it easy to handle, and he can let out the space if he needs to. The T needs more lead rope. Now he's going to work at moving the forequarters. He's going to suggest with rhythm, ask, promise. And now he's touching him, so he's telling him to move his forequarters off and to the left. What we're looking for is for the near foot to step across the far foot. This may not happen in your first few tries. If you persevere and you consistently practice, the near foot will step far over in front of the far foot. So Gareth is going to reward the slightest try. Pressure motivates, release teaches. And he's rewarding the slightest try of Matin yielding those shoulders and moving away from Gareth. This, first and foremost, is about safety. So being able to move that shoulder away and not end up stepped on or with our horse bumping us out of the way. But if you can't move your horse's forequarters, they're likely still heavy on the forehand and possibly very hard to turn. If we can move the forequarters down here, we have a good chance of being able to turn our horse when we're on their back. So these are all the things that we're going to practice, because Gareth is going to work on a video with Matin for the Masterclass series of Matin's first ride. If you're interested in the Masterclass series and you'd like to go beyond general horsemanship, please contact us, and we can get you set up on the road to higher understanding and success through our Masterclass series. What Gareth teaches on one side needs to be taught on the other. Horses don't transfer teaching right to left. So Gareth is going to step over to the left side of the horse and move his forequarters off to the right. Move the forequarters over, have the feet step over. If you've ever been leading a horse and have them bump into you with their shoulder, this is one of the things that can save your life and keep you both out of trouble and make it so you don't have to be so hard on your horse to teach him to do the right thing later on. See how Matin moves his front feet over, steps away from Gareth. That's what we're looking for. To reinforce that Matin got the right thing, Gareth is going to give him a little bit of dwell time, give Matin time to think and soak in what he just learned, making it easier to maneuver Matin tomorrow. So we've backed up, we've moved the hindquarters, and we've moved the forequarters. Matin's giving a lick and chew. That's him learning and understanding that Gareth is speaking to individual body parts. And then if Matin yields away from rhythmic pressure, you can start understanding where Gareth is intending for him to go.
So his brace tends to be back off.
So pressure motivates, release teaches. And one thing that we're trying to teach all of our young horses is to not brace. Horses learn to brace because people make a request, and then they abandon the request when the horse hasn't made a positive change or tried to do anything. So Matin's particular brace is that he backs away from Gareth. If you've ever had a horse pull on you on the lead rope, you ask them to do something and they violently pull backwards. That's sort of Matin's stronghold in Matin's brace. So when Gareth puts pressure on, he's going to keep pressure on until the horse tries to do the right thing. When the horse tries to do the right thing, there will be a release of pressure. If the horse is pulling back or running away from you or bolting sideways or any of the other options they could give you, keep asking until the horse tries to take the correct step. You can see Matin's a little more attentive than when we started out. He's kind of organizing himself, 2 eyes and 2 ears, and standing there with quite a bit of dignity, waiting for Gareth to make the next request. So now Gareth is going to help Matin figure out how to go forward by driving the forequarters or putting pressure in front of the drive line. The drive line is the line where your girth hangs on your saddle. Everything in front of that causes the horse to move forward or to turn. And when Gareth puts pressure behind the drive line, that causes the horse to disengage, stop, turn, face, and wait. So as Gareth sends Matin out, He's going to lift it, lead it, swing it, and now he's going to touch Matin somewhere in front of that drive line until Matin takes a step off to Gareth's left. When Matin steps off to Gareth's left, Gareth is going to allow him a nice droopy lead rope and allow Matin to find his way around the circle, maintaining gait, maintaining direction, and looking where he's going, because that is the horse's responsibility. When Gareth is ready for Matin to stop, he's going to look at the hindquarters, suggest, ask, promise, tell, putting pressure behind the drive line until Matin disengages, stops, turns, faces, and waits. Again, Gareth is providing more dwell time, so Matin knows he got the right answer. The more time you take to allow your horse to think, the easier the training process will be later on. Matin is a higher strung, highly motivated horse, and it took a lot of asking to get him to realize he doesn't need to trot and canter off at the end of that line, blindly moving forward. So Gareth giving Matin dwell time to not build up anxiety and think that he just needs to run forward is what's going to teach Matin not to be a runaway under saddle. Remembering everything that we do online is to prepare our horse to be ridden. So if Matin can't walk a circle on the ground, how well is he going to be able to just walk a circle when Gareth goes to ride him? Disengage, pressure behind the drive line, suggest, ask, promise, tell. Matin disengages, stops, turns, faces, and waits. I think we're good.